Hi there. I've got a short little vignette about my time in Iraq in the Oil for Food program, which, although it was a purely humanitarian program, was in fact an entirely political program. So, Mosul is a city in the north of Iraq, very ancient history, meeting place of many different kinds of faiths and religions, and it was kind of a magic place that everybody wanted to go to once. So we were lucky enough to be sent up there, deployed up there to do our job of monitoring the distribution of food and material in the Oil for Food program. And we had a local liaison officer who was the most unusual local liaison officer that we had in our entire time, my team had in the entire time in Iraq. He was a Christian, an Orthodox Syrian Christian, and he was the only person who ever referred to Saddam, meaning Saddam Hussein. Every single other local official that we dealt with, and there were many of them, would use the expression, "Our leader, the president." This guy was different. He said it like he saw it, and he said, "Saddam." Hey, kudos. I don't know where he is now or if he even survived to the end of Saddam's time, but he deserved to. So, one of the things he said to us was, "You foreigners don't know anything about Iraq." Totally true. Totally true. Let me show you around a bit. So when you're not counting sacks of rice, how about we just whiz in your car to various places? Fine. How would you like to see an Orthodox monastery up on a cliff? Whoa, like to. Monastery in hardcore Muslim Iraq. I like it. So anyway, this photograph, not taken by me, is of a monastery up in the hills near Mosul. I can't remember what ours looked like, but it looked very much like this one, particularly that approach track going up. From where this photograph is taken, you can see that that's a few hundred feet up the side of the hill. And I guess that in the old days when these were built, they had to be defensible, even though they were supposedly religious places. So my partner and myself and this liaison officer, we went up to the monastery. And the monastery had 3 inhabitants. It had obviously at some stage had a couple of hundred, but it had 3 inhabitants when we were there. A bishop, a blind monk, and a very large overweight monk. And that was it. So our liaison officer very much wanted to be blessed by the bishop, and clearly from time to time he was bringing supplies to the monastery because the bishop very much liked him. And the bishop offered to bless myself and my partner, and I accepted his blessing. I'm not a religious person, but why would I turn down anything that might, turn out to be a reasonable insurance policy later after I find out that I was wrong about that there is no God? So anyway, I allowed the bishop to bless me. My partner respectfully and politely declined, and we chatted a bit, and then we left. Mosul was famous for many things, but it was the place where the prophet Jonah, the Old Testament prophet Jonah, was buried. And here's a picture taken of his tomb. It was a small place of pilgrimage. There are so many throughout the Middle East, places of pilgrimage of various prophets. By the time you've done them all, you're a very old person. But it was a nice place. It was a thing to do. You visited that. You visited the market in Mosul. And in the market in Mosul, I happened to buy a couple of very nice, very old Kurdish tent hangings that serve today as carpets in my bedroom. So I'm very fond memories of Mosul. That's the tomb then. This is the tomb now, after ISIS finished their urban restyling program in Mosul. It is tragic that we are witness to acts of barbarism, both cultural and physical, in our time, a greater number and to a greater extent than ever before in history. Yes, civilizations have come and civilizations have gone. But we, for sheer diversity of barbarism, for sheer diversity of destruction, we are pretty unique. And that really is the only thing I want to say about Mosul, except to say this about the nature of chaos and chaotic activity. It's my analysis of the blowing up of that tomb that it was a deliberate, calculated, plunging the society into chaos. Now, there are positive ways of using chaos. Imagine yourself in whatever work group you work with, and the boss comes in one day, and if the boss is you, you'll be surprised you're going to say this. And the boss says, right, this Friday afternoon, we're all leaving work and we're going for an afternoon of brainstorming, creativity. And we're going to go to such and such a hotel, and on completion of the afternoon brainstorming, there'll be a wash up and I will let you know what's going to happen. So you all go, that's the only briefing you've got, and you get into the room that he's hired, and there's papers, there's pencils, there's stickies, there's all the stuff you need to be creative, and he sets a professional challenge. How are we going to do this? The company's in trouble, we need to dig our way out of it. All ideas are good, no idea is stupid. I want outside the box thinking, and I really mean it. By the way, the best idea gets all the executive parking outside the building for a week. The worst idea will get a letter saying, you're on probation, you're going to be the first people let go. I'm going to leave you now. Ciao. And so an incentive has been thrown into the room, a sanction has been advertised in the room, and the idea about brainstorming, whichever way you're going to do, whatever you're going to do, whatever it was the particular, your particular group did, gets done. The boss has removed all constraints and has added pressure and incentive. He has deliberately used chaotic. All boundaries have gone. There's both fear and reward have been thrown into the ring. It's a way of using the chaotic domain creatively. In a way, these guys, by blowing up that tomb, were using the chaotic domain creatively. If we can do this to a 2,000-3,000 year old tomb, imagine what we can do to your house. It's implicit. So it's the whole point of this vignette is to get you to think about the chaotic domain in the Cynefin framework. It can be used for good and ill. Oh, by the way, the boss was only joking about firing or putting on probation the worst idea. He just dumped the worst idea. That was just to give a little frisson of excitement. And really, that's what I wanted to talk to you about, using the location of Mosul, the fact of the monastery, and the fact of the poor tomb of the prophet Jonah. Thank you.